You may have heard of Crumbl cookies. They're taking over the United States, and I think they're headed for world domination. Unless I have something to say about it. I first heard about Crumbl cookies the hard way. I opened up Uber Eats, I ordered some of the crew. They all fell asleep. Now they're popping up on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram. I don't think they're that special, so I think it's time we end their reign before it begins. So let's make this, shall we? All right, here we are, Crumbl cookies. I mean, this is quite literally just a bakery with one very small storefront. I guess I'll go inside now. Hello, how's it going? Can I just do one of each? One of each. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, 3-point review. First off, I'm giving the actual location a 10 out of 10. Because this business model is insanely good. It's literally just 2 gigantic ovens, and they just make a shitload of cookies, put them in there, rotate them out, and send them out. Service, 10 out of 10. They were really nice. Their menu rotates seasonally, which I love. And honestly, all the cookies look pretty good. 7 out of 10. It would get higher, but one of the cookies were really ugly, so let's just get out of here. So we've got the box. So we got a chocolate chip cookie, which looks like Bigfoot's toe. The s'mores looks good, actually. Doesn't smell like s'mores. This looks like some sort of portal in Guardians of the Galaxy. This one actually looks nice. Whoever did the little nice. I start with chocolate chip because that's my favorite cookie. It's really not that special. I have a high expectation for chocolate chip cookies, so my hope is that this place is all about flavored stuff. I feel like this is gonna be good. The only problem is like artificial flavoring somewhere in there. I'll go to 6 out of 10. Now the s'mores. Oh, it's got a little cheese pull. That one I like if you get the marshmallow, but once the marshmallow is gone, it's like completely useless. Last one, the dulce de leche. Smells like a snickerdoodle with dulce de leche. Tastes great and also tastes like absolutely nothing at the same time. Out of all the desserts that I've had, Crumbl cookies, not bad. Can we do better? Oh. Yeah, we can.
So we picked 4 of what they're offering when we made this video. We've got the classic chocolate chip, of course, dulce de leche, s'mores, and finally berry cobbler cookie. First, we begin with the most important, the cookie dough. All of these work off of one common dough, but each is a little different. For the chocolate chip, first, large mixing bowl. Add 3 cups or 450 grams of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of cornstarch, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of baking soda, 1 teaspoon or 7 grams of fine sea salt. Whisk that together till combined and set to the side. Now listen carefully. This mixture is going to be the exact same in every single cookie dough, so we're only gonna do this once. To a large bowl, you're gonna add 1 cup or 200 grams of light brown sugar, 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar. Whisk those together to combine. Then whisk in 1 1/4 cup or 285 grams of melted unsalted butter. Then whisk in 1 egg yolk, followed by 1 whole egg. You need to whisk the tarnation out of this. Finally, whisk in 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of vanilla extract. Then add half your flour. Mix that together till combined. Then add your remaining flour and mix until you have a beautiful dough. Now look, the rest of this is very simple. You'll add a mixture of 6 ounces or 170 grams of dark chocolate and 4 ounces or 113 grams of milk chocolate that's been rough chopped. Fold that together and that's your dough. Cover and let that chill in the fridge for about 1 hour. Now onto the dulce de leche dough. Remember, the wet's the same. Brown sugar, white sugar, melted butter, yolk, egg, etc. But the flour's different. Large mixing bowl, add 3 cups or 450 grams of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon or half a gram of ground allspice, 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of baking soda, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon or 7 grams of fine sea salt. Then whisk together till combined. And you know the drill. Add half your flour to the wet, mix together till combined, add the rest, mix, and that's actually it for that dough. Cover that and let that rest in the fridge. Next, the s'mores dough. Kinda wanted to go for a graham cracker flavor. So again, same wet mixture, but for the flour, you're gonna do 2.5 cups or 375 grams of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup or 38 grams of whole wheat flour, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of cornstarch, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of baking soda, 1 teaspoon or 7 grams of fine sea salt, and whisk until combined. Mix the flour with the wet, combine, cover, and rest in the fridge for 1 hour. We got one more, the cobbler dough. This one's special. Now, first you're gonna take 1 cup or 96 grams of rolled oats, pop that into a food processor, and pulse until you get a fine powder with tiny little chunks. Now, large bowl, 2 cups or 300 grams of all-purpose flour, followed by your oat flour, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon or 7 grams of fine sea salt, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of baking soda, whisk, and, well, don't make me say it again. You put the thing with the thing, and you mix, and you got a dough. Cover and pop into your chili zone box. The baking of these is very simple. First, dulce de leche. Small bowl. Add half a cup or 100 grams of granulated sugar, and 1.5 teaspoons or 4 grams of ground cinnamon. Stir together, and, well, that's cinnamon sugar. Now take your dough and get yourself 2.5 tablespoons of big old balls. Roll them around in your sugar, place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet about 2 inches apart, then flatten the dough with the palm of your hand or the flat bottom of a glass. Pop them into your oven that's been preheated to 350 Fahrenheit and bake for 7 to 9 minutes. And this applies to every single dough that there is. Listen, the key to a great cookie is actually to under-bake them a little bit. You want a little bit of that gooey goodness. Now, we got a lot of toppings, so let's make this simple. Now, for the actual dulce de leche, all you need is as many cans of sweetened condensed milk as you want, the 14-ounce ones. Pop them into a large pot, cover with enough water so that they're fully submerged by about 1 to 2 inches. Bring to a boil on medium-high, then reduce to a simmer and cook for 3 hours. I know it's a long time, but you open it up and look at the fruits of your labor. You're gonna want to smooth this out, so pour it into a small mixing bowl, whisk it thoroughly, and if you want it extra smooth, pass through a fine mesh strainer. Let it cool completely and keep in the fridge. Now for the toasted milk queen. In a saucepan, add half a cup or 60 grams of dried milk powder, place on medium heat, and just continuously cook and stir that until you start to get some nice browning. Then add in 1 cup or 240 milliliters of whole milk, bring it up till steamy and hot, then turn off the heat and steep for 10 minutes. Strain that into a separate container and cool completely. Separately in a mixing bowl, you're gonna add 1 cup or 227 grams of softened unsalted butter. Now beat that together until nice and whipped, then add in 4 cups or 450 grams of powdered sugar in batches until fully incorporated, then beat in 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of vanilla extract. And finally, add your toasted milk just to loosen until the texture is thick yet smooth like this. Pop that into a piping bag and you're ready to assemble. Now the assembly here is simple. Get your baked cookie, add a nice heaping tablespoon of your dulce de leche on top. Spread it around so you get a nice circle in the center. Then using a star tip piping bag, pipe on a nice little dot of your toasted milk cream. Optionally, you can give it a nice grating of fresh nutmeg, and that's your cookie. Repeat with the rest. Now, moving on to s'mores. So you got your baked cookies, same concept, 350, 8 to 9 minutes, but this one we're doing a little different. You know, instead of doing a marshmallow in the center, I thought, well, what if we did like a marshmallow meringue? Get yourself a medium-sized heat-proof bowl, add in 4 egg whites, 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon cream of tartar, whisk together, put that on top of lightly simmering water, mix in a pinch of fine sea salt, and then just heat that in the bowl of a stand mixer until warm and dissolve. Move that to a stand mixer with the whisk attachment and beat on high until you get medium stiff, glossy peaks like this. Then beat in 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of vanilla extract. Now pop that into a piping bag, and to assemble, you take your cookie, you place it down, you get 1 cup or 140 grams of semi-sweet chocolate chips, melt those bad boys, pop those into a piping bag, get a nice drizzling of your melted chocolate on top of each cookie, then pipe on your marshmallow topping however your heart desires. You want to do it in the center? Totally fine. The only thing I recommend is that you torch this beautifully after piping on, and you're ready to serve. Now look, the chocolate chip cookie dough is obvious. You put it on the baking sheet, you put it in the oven, 8 to 12 minutes, and she's beautiful. Last, but certainly not least, the berry cobbler. First, we're gonna make a very basic raspberry jam. Now, medium saucepan, add in 1.5 pounds or 680 grams of raspberries, fold that with anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 cups or 250 to 500 grams of granulated sugar. Toss that together and let it sit for 10 minutes to macerate. That's macerate, all right? Keep your mind out of the gutter. Now, add 2.5 tablespoons or 23 grams of lemon juice, bring that up to heat over medium-high. Then once that comes up to a simmer, begin mashing your berries and let that boil for about 8 to 10 minutes until reduced. Be sure to test its thickness for about 5 to 10 minutes. Pass that through a sieve to strain out the seeds and cool completely. Now, if it's reduced enough, its texture should look like this when chilled. Now let's talk cinnamon streusel topping. First, medium-sized bowl. Add in 1 cup or 150 grams of all-purpose flour, half a cup or 100 grams of white sugar, half a cup or 100 grams of light brown sugar, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of fine sea salt, and half a teaspoon or 2 grams of ground nutmeg. Whisk it together till combined, and this next step is very important. Get a fork, and you're gonna carefully drizzle in 6.5 tablespoons or 91 grams of unsalted butter while constantly clawing and tossing until clumpy but relatively combined. You want it to look like this. Now scatter that over a parchment-lined baking sheet and bake at 350 Fahrenheit until just barely crisp through, about 5 to 7 minutes. Let that cool completely, and your topping is done. Last but not least, our cream cheese frosting. I mean, we've made this a million times, right? Medium-sized bowl, 2/3 of a cup or 150 grams of salted softened butter. Beat together using an electric mixer. Fold out with 8 ounces or 225 grams of full-fat cream cheese. If you're on a diet, hey, just don't make this. Beat those two together with a hand mixer. Then once that's creamy, beat it in 3.5 cups or 415 grams of powdered sugar in batches until smooth and homogeneous. Follow that with 1.5 teaspoons or 8 grams of vanilla bean paste or vanilla extract. Then just loosen that with milk about 1 teaspoon at a time until thickened to your desired consistency. Just remember, if you make it too thin, it's not going to sit very nice. Now pop that into a piping bag with a round tipped attachment and let's assemble. First, do a nice little swirl of your cream cheese frosting, leaving a little bit of space in between each little ring, like this. Now separately, with your raspberry jam, also in a piping bag, fill that space. Now I really like this. It looks really nice. Finish that by crumbling your cinnamon streusel topping across the top of each and every finished cookie. And look at that. We have all 4 of our little babies right here. Now look, I've got to say, we're going into this battle. I'm pretty sure I overbaked my cookies. Oh boy, here we go.
Look at these two. Honestly, they both look pretty good. Let's start with the original chocolate chip. Ooh, if you do not like dark chocolate, you won't like this. You're gonna prefer this. So next cookie is the s'mores. I like that this marshmallow has a chew in. This one kind of doesn't, but you get marshmallow in every single bite, and that's what I don't like about this. So I'll give it a tie. Now this one on the other hand. Good Lord. I think that's my favorite one by far. It's the Razzle Dazzle. This is probably the sweetest of all the cookies, but the biggest thing is it doesn't have artificial flavor. It's like a natural fruit. Last but not least is this guy. Hello. Honestly, this one's also a toss-up. I can taste all the flavors in this. That's the biggest missing thing with these. Is I taste no butter, no depth, no saltiness. It's just kind of like sweet and whatever associated flavors. So a bit of a toss-up on some of them, but we have a taste tester coming in to decide the winner. Oh my God, why is it getting so dark in here? Who are you?
You're gonna try some cookies?
We're gonna begin with this chocolate chip. Okay, cookie number 1 and cookie number 2.
I'm gonna go number 1 on that one. There is a greater depth of flavor there. A lot more saltiness, a lot more butteriness.
Second cookie is the s'mores one.
Oh, this is crumbly.
I'm afraid that I'll fly. 2.
First one, a lot more flavors in that one than this one, which felt like it was primarily cookie, and I felt like a little bit of marshmallow.
That's great. Time for the third, berry cobbler.
More cookies should have jam.
Number 1. Now number 2.
Just another one for number 1. There's something artificial to this, which makes me think it's Crumbl. That's a rock, and the jam is just better.
Great. Number 1 of the second of the last one. Why are you taking such small bites?
Lots of sugar is bad for your teeth.
What are you, sponsored by dentists? That was number 2.
This one's hard. Both pretty good. Can I hold the other one as well? This one's a bit chewier. This one, a bit of a crunch, which I don't think is bad. Flavor-wise, they're kind of the same. So I'm gonna have to give it to this one.
Damn it! This is what happens when you overbake your cookies.
How many of yours I voted for?
1.
Are you serious?
I'm just glad that it was the chocolate chip you voted for, because this is the one that's out of my cookbook. I'll take that as a W. It's a but better loss. I'll take it. Crumbl, you created the game of topped cookies, but this will be the last time that something's gonna get topped. Do you wanna know what else is getting topped? B-roll.